Today I'm going to give you guys my tips for traveling independently. Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. So I've talked about this many times before, how I travel independently through airports and things like that. I've mentioned it several times in other videos, but I figured I would create a video consolidating all the information in one place to make it easier to find. I recently made a trip to California, and on my way out there, I wore a GoPro on my on my chest. I felt a little silly, but so I could document the entire process and talk about it with you guys. And I want to stress that this is just my method for traveling. It's worked great for me. I think there's no reason why it wouldn't work great for you as well. Okay? Get that disclaimer out of the way right at the beginning. But the number one thing that I do is I take this guy with me, my cane. If you are new to my channel, I am a sometimes cane user. With my vision impairment, I have pretty decent peripheral vision, so I don't tend to run into things very often. But I do use a cane for investigating objects, investigating stairs, investigating curbs, things like that. The main reason though I use it is for identification, so that everybody around me knows that I have a vision impairment. And once again, that's not a bad thing. So that's why it is super helpful when I travel. So the very first thing is make sure you have your cane with you. Now, when you purchase your ticket, if you do it online, you can go ahead and sign up for needing assistance. You can mark on the ticket that you might need assistance. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It doesn't seem to make a difference either way because of the way I travel. Now, you can try it. When I've done it in the past, sometimes they didn't say anything about it, so I don't even bother anymore. Because when I get to the airport, the very first thing I do is I go up to the ticket counter and I check in. Even if I have my boarding pass and everything electronically on my phone, I still go up to that ticket counter and let them know that I'm visually impaired and I might need some help finding my gate. That is the key to success when traveling independently, is being 100% transparent and being an advocate for yourself. Let them know. They are paid to help you. And I have never, literally, knock on wood, never ran into somebody who was in a bad mood and didn't want to help me. They're always happy to help. Now here is where the cane comes in handy, because oftentimes while I'm checking in, even before I get to start talking about finding a gate, they see the cane and they ask if I'm going to need assistance. And that's it, man. The cane is the key. So they say, well, you need assistance. And I say, yes, I would need help finding my gate. So then somebody will come and help me, take me to my gate. Sometimes I have to wait a little while. Sometimes somebody's ready to go right then and we go on our way. And they always offer me their arm. They will often ask me how I want them to lead me. And usually with my vision impairment, I just say, I'll just follow you. You know, as long as I see you in front of me, that's all I need, and I could just follow you. And so we go. Now, here is probably the best part, and I've made a whole video about how I feel a little guilty about this part, but literally every single time I have traveled and used this method, we get to skip right through security, okay? So they take you, they jump into the front of the line, and they take you through security, and they help you through the whole process. That person helps you and they communicate to the security people standing there and let them know that you're visually impaired, you know, because it's not obvious enough, I guess. And then they help you through, and it's great. And then on the other side, that gentleman or that lady picks you up and you guys keep on going to your gate. Now he or she will walk you all the way through the airport and take you right to your gate. Oftentimes, in my experience, they will take you right to the little area for handicapped seating right there at the gate, which is fine. I'm happy to sit there. Oftentimes, they will let the gate attendant know that you are there and you will need assistance. Now, it's at this point, if I have some time before my flight, I don't want to sit there. Like when I was flying to California, I had a 3-hour layover in Chicago. Once they showed me where my gate was, I didn't want to just sit there for 3 hours. I wanted to go explore. That's part of the fun of going to an airport, is exploring. I also wanted to get some food. So I always asked them, can you point me in the direction of the restroom? You know, is there any good food around this area? And once they give you that information, then you can create your system. You guys know I love a good system. Check out my video I recently put out talking about systems for success. And in the airport is a perfect place to create a system. So what I do is once I know where my gate is, I find a landmark nearby. So recently when I was in Chicago, the landmark was a McDonald's restaurant right next to a restroom that was right next to my gate. So I knew that if I went out venturing and exploring, when I backtracked, as soon as I found that McDonald's right next to the restaurant, I knew my gate was right nearby. And then another great thing about airports is they often have certain landmarks indicators. And what I mean by that is, in this particular airport, the floor was all one color, but then they had these big stripes of contrasting tiles. So I just counted those contrasting tiles from the McDonald's restroom landmark to my gate. So I further fine-tuned my system. I knew that when I backtracked and I found the McDonald's and the restroom, my gate was just 5 dark tiles down on the left. So I had it. That was my system. Foolproof. Could not fail with that system, and it worked great. I went, I had some food, I used the bathroom, I walked all the way down the terminal, came back, just exploring. I had 3 hours to kill, so, it was fine. Now, while you're waiting for your plane, make sure you stay vigilant. As I said before, I had 3-hour layover. So when it was about an hour before, I went up to the little gate booth and I checked. Just want to make sure it's on time, everything's still running smoothly. And she said, oh no, actually, they've changed gates. And I'm like, well, good thing I checked, So she said, yeah, it's down at gate whatever, and they're boarding now. She said, well, you need help finding it? I'm like, yeah, I will definitely need help finding it. So she took me down, and I made it in time to get on my plane. So if I had not checked, if I had not been proactive and checked, I would have missed my flight, and I would have been very upset about that. I had already spent way too long in this airport. But if you don't have to worry about that, then my next tip is pre-boarding. Generally, the people waiting at the gate booth thing, desk, they will notice you and they will already have made contact with you. Pre-boarding is awesome. You get to get on there before anybody else does. So you get to fumble with your cane and putting your bag up and finding your seat and everything when there's nobody else around staring at you. That's awesome. I love doing that. So pre-board, get down to the airplane. Either someone helps me down or I go down by myself. Once I get to the airplane, talking to the flight attendant, I say, I'm not going to be able to find my seat. Can someone help me? Yes, absolutely. They take me right back there. Here's another quick tip about being on the plane. If you do get the option to switch seats, I always choose an aisle seat because in the case that I need to get up and use the bathroom, I don't have to try and squeeze past people. That's a good rule of thumb for everybody. Nobody wants to squeeze past people in a row, but if you're visually impaired and you can't see where you're putting hands and that kind of stuff, it's even better to avoid all of that. So I always try and get an aisle seat if possible. And then when I first get on the plane and the flight attendant's helping me find my seat, I go ahead and get the lowdown from her of where everything is. So I find out where my air is, where my light is. If I need a light, generally I don't. Where the call button is, that's very important. You want to find where that call button is in case you need something during the flight. And then I'll also ask her where the restrooms are. And she'll say, she or he will say it's in the front or it's in the back. And I will ask, okay, which side is it on? Is there a galley back there? If there is the restroom before the galley or is it after the galley? I don't want to go stumbling into an area that I'm not supposed to be in when I'm looking for a restroom. You could also ask how many rows back it is or how many rows forward the restroom is. Because when you come back, you're going to have to count rows as you go along until you find your seat. And this is another benefit of sitting on the aisle seat, because when you're coming back, you're much more likely to notice that empty seat and realize that's your seat. Another tip is to put something in the seat when you leave, whether it's your cane. If you have a jacket, if you have a bright colored jacket, that's perfect. Put that in the seat. That way, as you come back, you're going to know that's your seat and not just some other person's seat. And don't be afraid to ask for help, even on the plane. I've done that before. I needed to use a restroom. I pushed the call button. The flight attendant came up, asked me if I needed any help. I said, would you mind showing me where the restroom is? And she took me back there, and then she waited kind of in the galley area for me to come out, and then she took me back to my seat. And it was fine. It was great. I was able to use the bathroom, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help like that during the trip. Now, when you land at your destination, you've got a couple options. You can ask the flight attendant if they could radio ahead and have somebody waiting there for you at the gate to show you where baggage claim is or show you where the Uber pickup area is or whatever. I've done that before and it worked fine. Or you can just deplane like everybody else, and as soon as you get out into the terminal, into the gate area, find one of those little gate desks, gate booths, and then ask somebody there if they could find someone to show you where you're supposed to be going. I've done that too and it worked out fine. So a quick tip for your baggage. If you were able to just carry everything, carry on onto the plane, great. That's probably the easiest way to keep track of everything. But if you do have bags that you need to check, and then once you get to your destination, you need to pick them up at the baggage claim area, a very easy trick is to mark your bag somehow. I have this little Velcro yellow strap that sometimes I will put onto my bag, and it's a bright yellow color, so it really catches the eye when the bags are coming around the carousel. This last time when I went to California, I didn't know I was going to be checking a bag until I got there. And so as she was checking me in, I actually asked her if she had any bright colored tape. And they did. They had some kind of, it was American Airlines, so they had red, white, and blue tape. And so I just wrapped tape around my bag so that, it's a little strange, I know, but when I got to my destination and this bag was coming around the carousel with a piece of tape wrapped around it, I'm like, there's my bag. That's the one. It worked great. I'm definitely going to try that trick again in the future. Okay guys, so that is it. That's my tips for traveling independently. That is my system. I use it every single time, and as I said, it has never failed me yet. But definitely go out, give it a try guys, and then let me know how it turns out. I'd love to know about it. If you have any questions in the future, let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, be sure to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you will stay up to date with all the videos I put out in the future. As always, this is Sam with The Blind Life. Happy travels, and I will see you next time.